So I feel like I really don't share my personal opinions all that much. Usually, in my videos, I give arguments for and against something and show evidence for these positions, along with how things could be interpreted under a specific lens. In this video, I'm just going to talk about things I'd like to see, but they're largely not that important. Here are 5 unimportant things I want to see in Fallout. You ever notice how super mutants these days are all bald? It's a bit strange. The original Fallout featured Harry, who was a super mutant with, as his name would imply, hair. It almost feels like he's the only mutant who does. Tabitha is wearing a wig, her true hair, but the rest, chrome domes. It's really odd if the Fallout 1 and 2 sprites are anything to go by. A significant portion of them sport military shortcuts on their noggins, like Harry had. In addition, looking at Fallout Tactics, a lot of mutants had hair. Though the mutants of Tactics look rather different, much more melted human-like, going by the character portraits. If we must have super mutants again, I like to see them sporting wavy locks. I feel like it gives some amount of variety to what is a pretty unremarkable enemy to shoot at otherwise, even if it's a rarity. Of course, might be harder with the East Coast. At least in 4, it's kind of hard-coded into the lore that balding is part of being a super mutant. Dogs are cool and everything, but I'll be honest, I'm a bit tired of them in video games. I kind of been tired of dogs as companions for a while. There was a time where it seemed like a lot of games forced a dog companion upon me, Fallout and Fable most prominently. And like I said, they're cool and everything, but I feel like there's room for a lot more. I'd like to actually have a mutated rabbit hopping around to help me ruin the days of mini raiders. It'd be hilarious and probably a lot more brutal than you'd think. Or maybe a cat, a breed of a post-apocalyptic cat that perhaps evolved to adjust to their environment. Grew larger and stronger than most house cats that we find in 4. Not exactly as big as a lion or anything, but definitely enough to be a threat. Forget dog meat, I want cat meat. Funny enough, we do somewhat see this in Fallout Shelter. You compare dogs, cats, and even birds to dwellers that you send out. Just another reason why Shelter is the superior Fallout, I suppose. So this one has went back and forth in the series. Most recently, 76 has most of it, short of maybe New Vegas, I suppose. Plasma Caster, Pip-Boy 2000, floaters, even if in a different design, things like that. But something I'd really like to see is more of the classic design of the elements that never actually left, like the iBots or Sentries. These are some very strong differences compared to the newer games. I think it'd be pretty cool to bring some of them back. Could explain the differences with different models and purposes. Bulkier ruggedness, cheaper materials, that sort of thing. In addition, I'd like to see more classic weaponry return, like the Watts 2000 laser rifle. Maybe it's a heavy laser rifle with a scope. Not just that, but things like the classic design for combat armor, which kinda exists in Fallout 4 and 76, but not entirely. It's closer than most though, short of the reinforced combat armor in New Vegas. Could be fun. You know, it's kind of funny, but once upon a time there used to be a parody of Magic the Gathering in Fallout called Tragic the Garnering. What's the thing in 2? There was a small handful of locations to find a deck, and the chosen one could play against Wooz, who was an obsessive Tragic player. The game was notably addictive in pre-war times, with the only reference that I know about in newer titles being regulated to a throwaway line in an H&H Factory's terminal. Honestly, it's a bit surprising that this fictional game hasn't gotten much attention in newer games. It's a kind of nerdy thing I feel like a lot of players would look into. Or maybe it isn't that surprising at all. Making a whole card-based minigame, while fun, would be a bit daunting. Card art, rules, that sort of thing. Still, it could be a great way to reference Elder Scrolls with some of these cards. Not necessarily claim that Elder Scrolls is a card game in Fallout, just reference a few of the more important Elder Scrolls characters and moments with similar names and designs. This is one that I feel sorta has an okay chance of happening eventually, in the next 50 years considering Bethesda's pace of development. But I like to see Los Angeles in a 3D Fallout game. Now my reasonings for doing so are entirely in-world, and nothing to do with LA itself in real life, so probably more accurate to say that I want to see the LA Boneyard rather than LA. The LA Boneyard was featured in the original Fallout. It's where the followers of the Apocalypse and the Gunners resided, as well as, and more importantly, the Master of the Unity. A game set in the LA Boneyard would probably be just close enough to get to the hub, Necropolis, and maybe the Lost Hills Bunker. But one cool moment would probably be visiting the creator of the Master's Cathedral and probably getting strange visions as if he's not fully dead, but no real confirmation. That said, I could see this being very iffy territory. Honestly, this might be more my love for Fallout 1 speaking than anything else. I want it for these references more than I want it for substance, hence why I feel it's unimportant. But that was 5 unimportant things I'd like to see in Fallout. What are some unimportant things you'd like to see? And a special thanks to my channel members, especially my Members Twice Over guys like the Crazy Game Developer and Danny McPhee. And if you want to support me and join as well, I'd be more than happy. Also, feel free to join my Discord server and chat with us. Thank you, have a good one.